Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk. Happening now on the Alternative Dig Talk.
Yes, happening now. Welcome to the Alternative Dig Talk. My name is Edgar Matthew Karuhanga. It's just a quarter to midday. For those who are joining in, a good afternoon to you, good evening and good morning because you're streaming us live from the entire globe. Kakwenza Rukirabashaija is the topical discussion today. This gentleman is a novelist in this country. He is not only just a novelist, but he's also an award-winning novelist at that. This gentleman has been incarcerated, I think, for the last 1 week, and it is his third time in 1 year, in fact 2 years, apparently, when he has been, behind bars. He has alleged of torture in April and in September 2020, but up to now, nothing has been done, and he's not even anywhere in court. I have his lead counsel and lawyer, Mr. Eron Kiiza, who is a human rights advocate and a gentleman who is not someone who has just joined us here at the Alternative Dig Talk. He's always a phone call away, and we always want to call him and maybe find out what more can he tell us about what is happening in this particular case. And of course, we expected Mr. Charles Twine, who is the spokesperson of the Criminal Investigations Division, that is CID. And up to now, we've been waiting for him for close to 45 minutes. He has not been able to surface. When he joins us, the seat is actually free. He will be telling us, but if he doesn't join us, sad for him and sad for the country that expected him to give us some clarity on some of very many bizarre allegations that this gentleman has been posed against, or many words that have been said against him and the people he talks or speaks for. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this exclusive with Mr. Eron Kiiza. You're welcome, sir.
It's my distinct honor and privilege to be on this show and to talk about human rights in this country, which are in a precarious situation.
Wow, you've used a very, very unique word. Not many Ugandans have really understood what you meant by that.
Yeah, I'm saying human rights are on the deathbed, and Uganda is a patient whose human rights blood is hemorrhaging out.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, for those who know, hemorrhage is spilling of blood. We expected Mr. Charles Twine, as I told you, in this seat, but he's not here. So we're just going to continue with the discussion.
I'm not surprised. Charles Twine told us on Monday that he would arraign an illegally detained, tortured Kakwenza to court on Tuesday, which was yesterday, and failed. Wow. He kept promising journalists the whole day that they are bringing him to court, but failed. So
he's a person who breaks his promises. You want to assert?
I'm not only asserting, I'm just saying his own conduct. His own conduct exemplifies him as a consummate liar. Okay. Just like the police department to which he belongs.
Okay, let's start off from there. How is Mr. Kakwenza?
Kakwenza is tortured, his feet are shredded, and his spirit is haunted by the continuing third in a row maltreatment of UPDF and police against him. You remember that in 2020,
yes, that was
April and then
September.
He was illegally arrested, illegally detained, harassed, tortured over writing, over publishing books, over his social media posts. And for the third time in a row, in a space of less than 3 years, we are in a similar situation, only that this time it is worse. The location of torture and illegal detention has switched from Kampala to Entebbe Special Forces Command facilities. It's not gazetted for detention, but I understand that sometimes they illegally detain people there.
Okay. You're making very, very strong allegations when you say this gentleman has been tortured.
These are more than allegations. This is a story recounted by Kakwenza to his wife on Monday during a search of SFC operatives at his house in Iganga. God knows what they were searching about tweets. The SFC, were they looking for tweets in his underwears, under his bed sheets, in the ceiling of the house?
I don't know. You tell me. You're the
no, this is completely outrageous. If you're holding someone for offensive communication,
Yes.
as the CID have told us, and as the commissioner for cyber crimes is purporting to investigate him about, and as the police spokesperson claimed in broad daylight, then you don't go into people's bedrooms, in people's saucepans, people's pots, people's plates, underwears, petties of ladies. You don't go there. And that's what they were doing on Monday.
But let's start off from where it starts from. Where is the thin line between offensive communication and freedom of speech, Mr.
But before we go to criminality, even if you said he had murdered someone, you don't illegally detain him. That is the law of the land. You hold him for 48 hours, you charge him in a court of law, you put a holding charge, you investigate, and then commit him to high court for trial.
Yes.
This is not even a capital offense. It is a minor offense. It is abusing you. It's like a quarrel. Kakwenza quarrels with Kinerugaba, and just because someone has guns, he commands and decides to detain him. That's wrong.
Wow.
Yes, it's plain wrong. It's wrong. If someone has abused you, has called you names, it's a civil matter. Sue him, get money from him, render him bankrupt. He won't do it again, and others will feel.
Instead of torturing him as a
But
person.
if you're going to torture him, then you're going to get more poems like Sternyans did, more cartoons that project you in a way, in the very way you are trying to silence people about. It doesn't work. Practically, it is wrong, illegally, and of course, it is morally reprehensible.
But what your client also did is also morally wrong.
Yeah,
Clearly,
clearly some people will
the words
perceive
he
it
was
as
using
that.
are-
The
are
pastors
very,
won't
very
be
bad
happy
words.
with it. The pastors won't be happy with it. And, but there are people who will want, who will be happy with it. But that's besides the point. The point is that we have a state run according to the law. The law is called the Constitution. We have a police which should follow the Police Act, and we should have the military which is governed by law. All should follow the law. We cannot prioritize our opinions of morality over the law of the land. The law of the land is that you don't detain beyond 48 hours. The law of the land is that you respect court orders when they are issued. Yesterday, the government was ordered to conditionally release Kakwenza,
Justice
and they are
Irene.
still jailing him, and they are still jailing him. So we want officers of the law to follow the law. We don't want them to tell us about following the law, and when they are not following up.
But what they're doing, does it actually surprise you, Counsel? Because you have seen these things very many times, and you've spoken about them. You are on record to be a gentleman.
And I'm not about to stop.
spoken.
What we are saying is that we will not get tired to condemn illegality in this country. We will not get tired to criticize impunity in this country. We need people to follow the law. This is a country that has a constitution, that has law, that has human beings whose dignity should be respected. You don't go around torturing people, intimidating people, sending spies on us, threatening us, and you expect that we shall buckle under your pressure. No, we shall raise the ante, we shall escalate these matters, and we shall insist that vomit our man.
Vomit our man. Now we want to hear from this man they are talking about. There is an exclusive he did right after he had been incarcerated. That was in September 2020. It's just a very short video that I want to play for you people who are watching us. And first hear from the man himself. Mr. Kakwenza Rukirabashaija had this to say after he was incarcerated back in September 2020. Let's watch this video.
In CMI, they interrogated me about it, about the book. They told me to describe the characters in the book. You can imagine I used the fiction, you know, I did not use these people here in the government. I used, it is a work of imagination, fictitious characters. So I looked at them beating me up, telling me to describe the characters in the book. I was like, now how do I describe? How can I relate? How can I reconcile that this one is M7, this is Janet, this is Mhozi, this is Second, this is who? It's just a work of imagination, just giving them headache. Because maybe what I wrote about is, of course they tortured me. They took me to the torture chamber, they beat me up, they did waterboarding, they hanged me, they, you know, they hanged me in the toilet, they hanged me on the stairs, on the rails to the stairs. I almost died. They beat me up. All my body was swollen. I started urinating blood. By the time I got out of prison, I had inflammations in the brain. My kidneys were damaged. My eyes were damaged. The Constitution is very clear. The whole of Chapter 4 of the Constitution is very clear. You cannot get me and you beat me and you almost kill me like as if I'm a pig. These things of coming to pick me up from my bed when I'm naked and I'm taken to a torture chamber.
Well, yes, those are the words of Mr. Kakwenza Rukirabashaija, who is the gentleman we are talking about this afternoon. Maybe Counsel Eron, just ask, when he was released back in April and in September, what did the security operatives actually tell you? Or how did it actually go down?
The usual story. The first time he was released in April, it was through court. They sanitized it through SIU, then arraigned him in court on a bogus charge, which would ultimately be dismissed, reinstated, dismissed. On the second occasion in September, they released him on police bond, and we told him, they released him on police bond, a case that was really never there and died a natural death. They have nothing to say except that this illegal, incommunicado, and torturous detention is the real punishment they are looking to mete out on Ugandans. And once they are done
it's not all about justice.
No. It's about getting even. It's about beating you. It's about silencing you. It's about showing you your boundaries, where you're supposed to stop in talking about some people in this country. There are people who are not supposed to be addressed by name. There are people who are not supposed to be criticized. And if you do them, then you get the kind of treatment that he's getting. And it is sad, because that is the antithesis of rule of law.
Counsel, what does this mean then to a common individual, someone who does not even maybe know these laws like you know? What does it mean for an individual?
No, it means that the law...
And they made such violence to him.
The law, that as we have it in the books, as we are supposed to follow it, is being discarded and being substituted with jungle law, whereby might is right, as opposed to rule of law, where each person is equally subjected to the same rules, which are clear, which are known, and publicly known. So we have a migration from rule of law into jungle law, whereby the weak suffer, they are eaten, as opposed to normal rule of law, whereby even the weak are protected and cherished as full and equal human beings in society.
Respect
so we have a
minority.
nasty situation. We have a nasty situation.
Yes, sir.
We have impunity, and we have militarism that has a whole shadow over us, because where police is investigating, it doesn't even have this man. The man is in the hands of the military, a military component called SFC, that is supposed to guard the president.
Is this even supposed to be, is it legal in the first place?
It is
him
here.
To be detained?
UPDF itself is illegal, and its departments are legal. So SFC has no major legal questions. The problem is that it's not supposed to be detaining writers like Kakwenza. It's not supposed to be harassing Ugandans like me. It is supposed to be guarding the president and his family, and that's it. Wow. If they want to interrogation, they should leave it to police. But they are interfering with police work. Police is too timid to say that you are interfering with our work, and you are making us irrelevant, and you are turning us into consummate liars who promise that we can even produce a man, and we can't actually produce him until someone who is on a war front in Congo gives an okay is that's when Kakwenza is going to appear.
So if he does not say it's okay, Kakwenza will die in those
we will have the illegal detention continuing until his conscience is pricked, and or he gets tired of warring with Kakwenza, and then if he slaps him enough slaps and is satisfied, his ego is stopped, then we'll probably have our man. But regardless of what he thinks or says, we shall continue demanding for the illegal detention to end, for the torture to end, because human beings, regardless of who they are, or where they come from, and regardless of whether they like you or not, whether they have offended you or not, they have dignity, they have rights that should be respected by all people, including the president and the first son. They are
human beings. Maybe also to add, this gentleman was arrested in Kampala But we saw him being taken to Iganga, his home, maybe I would say ancestral home, and they're checking there. Why did they have to actually go there instead of maybe if they are looking for evidence or anything?
The search was uncalled for. If someone's quarrel is offensive communication, as the police told us on Monday, then there is no point of taking him to... The tweets don't lie below carpets. Tweets are on computers. Tweets are online. You go, you log in. Whatever they were doing was wrong, was unnecessary, and another mark of impunity. There is no point in searching for offensive communication under someone's bed, in someone's clothes, people's food. No. That's completely outrageous.
And someone is here asking that, is it actually justifiable for him to be, for charges like Computer Misuse Act to be put against him?
No, it's not justifiable because that law itself has legal conundrums which are being tested in the Constitutional Court. But
okay. Counsel, you're speaking to a law person who may not understand.
Okay, we are saying it has legal loopholes because you are not supposed to criminalize wrong speech, offensive speech, or cantankerous speech. Speech is speech. If someone hurts you, you are supposed to go to a civil court, but not punish them. No, not punish them. Yeah, you are supposed to go to civil court and you are rewarded. You are compensated for the inconvenience or the hurt you have had. So this is a civil wrong, not a criminal wrong.
Okay, maybe then to ask, roadmap, what next? You as the gentleman who is defending Mr. Kakwenza, what next for you? What are your next steps?
We are professionals, we are lawyers, we are human rights defenders. We shall keep calling for an end to the illegal detention, an end to the torture, and we shall continue using the courts. If you disobey court orders and you're a police person, you will soon find yourself cited for contempt. And also we shall request them, if they don't want to release him, then you should produce him in court. And that is a demand that we are making today. So we shall continue exploring legal avenues of engaging the authorities until they do the simple thing of releasing and ending the illegal farce.
But Counsel, you've done these things. You've talked. That is the truth.
Yeah, and we shall continue talking. Like we are not going to pick guns like the guys did in 1980 or before. No, we don't believe in violence. We believe in a dignified, civilized ways of resolving even challenging problems like this one. So we shall pick pens, not guns. We shall pick books, not bombs, and confront this injustice.
Okay, Counsel, I have here a message that I want to read for you in just a few minutes. Some people were alleging that you are behind, let me look for it, it's just, it's here. This gentleman said, almost Rwandan spies that have been deported from Uganda on espionage mission use Eron Kiiza as their lawyer. The same lawyer of Kakwenza. Let's connect the dots. This goon is paid to insult the first family. Is it true?
No, I'm a lawyer, not a goon. I'm a good lawyer, one of the best you'll find.
No, he says this Rukirabashaija is the goon, but you are a gentleman who has been who defends Rwandan spies.
Yes, everyone wants a good lawyer, except if they can't afford him. Everyone wants a good lawyer. If you're in trouble, you want a good lawyer. Yes. So it is little wonder that a good number of Rwandans have found me capable of representing them legally. I'm proud of that. It's part of my CV. There are, however, other lawyers who have represented Rwandans. I'm not the only one. I maybe have taken the biggest chunk. But really, this is a record I proudly wave. Yeah, if I am able to represent international clients, foreigners in Uganda, then it means there is something that clients see in me. I'm very comfortable with that, and I encourage more Rwandans to come. I offer legal services to people regardless of race, of nationality, of tribe, of hate. Even short people, I represent them, and the tall ones like Kakwenza, people who are obese, I represent them. If you are a drunk, I represent you. The church people, I represent you. I don't discriminate. Yes.
Counsel, you're starting to poke some people.
No,
as
no,
you're
I'm not
making those
poking anyone.
statements.
I just represent people. I don't care about whether they go to church or whether they go to shrines. Although myself I'm a Christian, but even witch doctors, I have rights. I represent
Buli omu osobola okuba
them.
ng'omuwulira.
Muslims, fathers. I really don't care about someone's hate, size, nationality, what they eat, how they fuck, who fucks them. I don't care. Yes.
As long as they are human beings and
Yes.
they can afford your services.
Yes, yes.
Okay, Counsel. Maybe to also ask, how then do we reduce these things in terms of the tortures, the disrespect of court orders, the pompousness that is going on? You as a legal advocate, how do you think we should go about as a country?
So the country must refuse this nonsense more, must take it head on, and must say enough is enough. All countries that have been liberated from oppression, from injustice, it is the people. We must have a critical mass, a groundswell of opposition to this injustice. If we normalize it, it will be normal, and it will escalate until it is too late. I think there is still time to correct this injustice. We all need to resoundingly say no, reject this nonsense, oppose it, criticize it, condemn it, and resist it in all legal ways possible.
Okay. There is Mr. Omala Charles here who has just asked me, how do we bring about an understanding between the government, the citizens, and the lawyers? Because it feels like maybe he's meaning that you are all on different agendas. The lawyers are saying something different. The citizens themselves are saying something different. Then the government also is also doing something completely different. Counsel Eron.
We should have respect for rule of law as a ground rule. We should respect people's rights. Then we should dialogue more. When we have rule of law as a fundamental pillar of our human relations, then we can talk. Government should talk to its people. People should talk to their government officers. We have a meaningful engagement and also involve everyone in the government, the courts, the police, and know that if there is chaos here, no one is safe. But if there is rule of law, everyone benefits. Development follows. People be happy. People have peace. You can't have peace with injustice. They don't mingle. You get injustice, then before long you have chaos, you have civil war, you have uprisings, you have all sorts of chaos. So it is myopic to think that you can create development out of silence, out of fear. No, it's not sustainable. It can hold for a year or two or a few years, but ultimately it's a boomerang. It will come back and hurt you.
You're saying 1 or 2 years. This fear has been going on for the last, I think, 3 decades.
Yeah, I mean,
and it is still going on by the way.
For as long as it has been going on, what we have had was bogus peace, not genuine peace, and it has been sustained by unfortunately, people have had to pay with their lives, including on November 18th, over 100 people killed in broad day, extrajudicially. You saw the killings in Kasese, and there are more killings that you never got.
There are killings that
know.
Happen in
There are people that get
year,
into detention that never come back. People in Chiwanuka's constituency. Ronald Chibure, where he was a former MP. Yeah. So every election cost us a lot in terms of money, in terms of injuries, in terms of real lives. And that is not peace. It's because you are trying to instill fear. It's because you are enforcing an illegitimate establishment and you are trying to subvert the will of the people. When the will of the people is respected, then you don't have to use the guns. You don't need guns. You need policemen who just wave people and they stop. They don't even need to have guns.
Okay, countries like Switzerland don't have even prisons.
Even here in Uganda, there was a time when police, if they said stop, you would stop. When the military was never involved in beating up civilians. The early days of the NRA, when they were trying to spin themselves into people's hearts, they would never do some of these atrocities. They never used to go on the streets shooting people.
Okay.
They never used to detain writers.
Until now, today, the country is different. Let me read some of the comments of the people here. There is Mr. Tumusime who says, the level and the language used at times should be the one that is cautious and respectful to others, much as we don't agree with the regime. And this calls for knowing your lane as you try to express yourself and let the rest of the people enjoy their rights and freedoms as you want to. He's also talking about you people. He says maybe you're also going overboard.
Yeah, but people who go overboard, you handle them according to the law, not according to him. You don't hide them in your bedrooms. You don't beat them and slap them. You let the law take its course, and the course sees that you don't be the law. You don't take the law in your hands. You don't detain people longer than the Constitution says. You arrange them in courts of law, and that's what we are demanding. If people are wrong,
he's charged,
yes. There are people whose training, whose appointment, whose position is simply to determine who is guilty or innocent. Allow them to do their work.
Okay. Well, there's this also gentleman, he says, I believe that at one point in time, the citizenry should learn the nature of the state we are dealing with and perhaps behave accordingly and follow the laws of this country. Many people are maybe not justifying what the things that your gentleman was saying. He says that I believe that at one point in time, the citizenry should learn the nature of the state and the state we are dealing with, and perhaps behave accordingly and follow the laws of the land. Have you not yet learned how the state goes, Mr. Kiiza?
The state has standards. The standards are in the law, and the law of the land is simple. It says that don't hold someone beyond 48 hours, respect human rights, adhere to democratic principles, don't beat prisoners. There are rules for governing prisoners. Prisoners have rights. Detainees have rights. Suspects have rights. Respect them. Don't abuse people's rights as government or government functionaries and think that the people will respect then the people will adhere to rights. No. So if you want the rule of law in this country, apply it uniformly.
Everybody should be equal.
Even the rulers should adhere to the law.
Yeah, because nobody is above the law. That's
exactly.
What people say.
Yes.
Okay, there is also a gentleman here. He's called Kelvin Abenawe ABK. He says, Counsel, what is offensive communication though? What words does it include?
No, that it's an ambiguous offense that I won't bother defining, but is in section 24 of the Computer Misuse Act, and it's because of that latitude, that ambiguity, that blanket or sweeping. Basically, anyone can be charged with it. After this talk show, I will have offended someone. So someone can actually take me to court. So that's why that law is being challenged in the court. So in the Constitutional Court, it is a problematic law that was meant to stifle opposition in Uganda and to stifle criticism. It's a completely wrong law.
Now, this gentleman also adds to say, legally, is this binding? Did he break the law with the, in brackets, a Computer Misuse Act? He's asking, did he actually break the law in terms of when you speak?
If I had even broken that problematic law, he would be in court.
That's what
SFC does not determine who breaks the law. No. That's not its work. SFC is supposed to guard the president and as part of UPDF to defend this country from foreign aggression. They are not supposed to be policing. We have a police in this country.
Counsel chotegeza eriyo muntu atulaba nti gwe tonnafaayo oba omusango gwo agukoze ayinza okuba agukoze naye ekyokuba nga tebamulese mu kooti
sikyange nze nga loyanga gwe nga w'amawulire ng'abantu kusalamu oba Kakwenza yakoze omusango ebyo bya kooti tusaba omwana bamuleete mu kooti bamugye mu bamagye bamugye mu detention ya SFC y'Entebbe bamutwale mu kooti y'amagye rather kooti y'amateeka yerina obumanyirivu yerina obukugu naye si bamukwata mbundu
naye nga Counsel omusajja ono bamuchunyiza emirundi esatu 3 times. He's coming out to say he has been tortured. This third time, what are you going to do about the torture itself? Not just because mostly.
Now, what do you want me to do?
When
do you want me to disband UPDF? No, I will not do that. I can't handle. Yes. So if UPDF is torturing someone and we are still having them around, that possibility is there. Yes, there is a law that holds some individual torturers accountable, but sometimes they torture you at night. Oftentimes the torture includes blindfolding, so you can't even identify who has tortured. So you sue government, and suits takes time.
Which we have been seeing over
Suits
time.
take time.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Kale, thank you so much, Counsel Eron Kiiza. It's time for you to also call in live. The number is 0789 017 145, or the Airtel is 0759 231310. Call in live, talk to Counsel Eron Kiiza. We've had an exclusive with him to find out what exactly is happening in the case of Kakwenza Rukirabashaija. For those who have just joined in, this gentleman is an author and a writer who has actually won himself a couple of awards for writing, for being a courageous writer. So it is in that regard that we are asking, why is this gentleman still incarcerated? And they are saying, the council is saying that he has actually been tortured. We had some allegations and some statements saying that this gentleman was actually, you know, vomiting blood. We don't know how true these allegations are, but the council and his family has also been saying a lot of things. So you can also call in live right about now so that you can ask Counsel Eron Kiiza anything that you would want him to answer. Then after that, we shall call it a day right here at the Alternative Dictok. Remember, this is just an exclusive we are having with Counsel Eron Kiiza, the lead, lawyer in the case of Kakwenza Rukirabashaija that has, reached a lot of ties. Yes, hello. Good afternoon. Welcome to this exclusive.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you.
My name is Baguma Richard Lwatoro.
Yes, Baguma.
I'm a lawyer by training and also a Master of Laws student currently.
Yes, sir.
At the University of East London. And I've been following the discussion live.
Yes.
I would like to ask Counsel Eron. For my training at law school for the last 8 years consecutively, I've heard of issues of human rights, the rule of law. I've studied about the jealous institutions, 18 of them, and the Uganda Law Society, a fraternity of landmen and women. My question is specifically, what has engineered the sphere of silence around these institutions when injustice is happening in their face? None of these institutions have come up to say, I think the UPDF has crossed the limit here. Let the jealous institutions do their mandate as provided for by the great laws of this country. What is actually happening with the landmen and women in this country?
Thank you so much, Mr. Baguma. Yes, Counsel. The question from Mr. Baguma, what have these institutions done in the face of injustice that is going on right now?
Some institutions write reports and they think that's the work that they should be doing. Some institutions do some civic education. And indeed, some elements in Human Rights Commission, for instance, are interested in human rights work. But of course, now we have an additional problem that after 2 years without the leadership of the Uganda Human Rights Commission, the chairperson that they appointed has no idea, is clueless, doesn't know human rights.
Did you hear what she said a few days ago, that stop, tainting the name of the security operatives?
She mistakes herself as a spin doctor for the security agencies, even as they commit human rights violations, and is conspicuously silent when human rights in Uganda are going to the dogs. So you have an incompetent chairperson of the Uganda Human Rights Commission, then you have to manage your expectations of that specific institution, and they look elsewhere for answers to human rights violations. So yes, some institutions are breeding, and the Human Rights Commission is unfortunate to have the leader they have, who is clueless, incompetent, and ignorant about human rights. And that's the sad reality. We have to go with that.
Wow. Okay, maybe any other caller who would love to ask Counsel Eron Kiiza any question that you feel right and you feel like he can answer for you, so that we can actually end it here. We're talking about Counsel Rukirabashaija because he's also a lawyer by profession. Yes, please. Hello.
Good afternoon, Edgar and Counsel Eron. Norman here. I wanted to find out from Counsel on behalf of other activists. Lawyers and other civil society organizations have always castigated the government and its agencies for crossing the line. Is there any specific moment where, in his view, as a counsel, that he finds activists also crossing the line? Because 24/7, the government has gone beyond. Is there any specific moment where, as activists, also cross the line?
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Tumuhimbise. Activists, do they also cross the line? A question that has been reiterated many times.
Everyone crosses some line somewhere, so that's not a big deal. The problem is the security agencies and some government functionaries wanting to use those words, those lines, those phrases to curtail people's freedom of speech. So the line that exists with freedom of speech is respect for other people's rights. And of course, you're not supposed to defame others. Those are boundaries. When you do, there is a law for defamation, especially the civil law. When you commit, you are not supposed to commit crimes.
Yes.
You are not supposed to commit, those are clear lines. But they are not just for activists, they are for every Ugandan. No Ugandan is supposed to be committing a crime. And one of the crimes that are most abhorrent is torture, to which the SFC guys are subjecting Kakwenza, or to which activists suffer. So the lines are for everyone, including government functionaries, and the lines should be able to protect people, not to curtail their freedom. So people should speak freely, as long as they don't commit crime, as long as they don't defame others, as long as they don't respect the rights of others. So let's respect each other's rights regardless of our labels, whether we are activists or farmers or military men or police or journalists. Let's all respect each other's rights. Let's all respect each other's dignity. Let's all know how respect each other's freedom to move around the country, to do what we like, and to be happy, and to develop, and also to protect our environment and nature, which God has given us.
Wow, good nature. Let me read some of the comments. There is Mr. Moebesa Andrew. He says he's following. Thank you so much. There is Sophie, who says, what type of general fears just a word, rest in peace, Muhoozi? R.I.P. Muhoozi. What type of general is that? I also do not know. I don't know if...
No, actually, every general would fear rest in peace. I think, because that is the word that purports what? Yeah, but of course, if it is first used against you, just dismiss it. You don't run mad. You don't run amok. Yeah, it is something you lightly wave off. As a true, confident, sober person wouldn't run after people telling them that either they are dead or that they are ballooning, those kind of things. No. I mean.
Wow. This man Rogers asks, is the freedom of speech absolute in this country?
No, it's not absolute in this country. It's not absolute anywhere, and I've drawn the contours. 1, don't commit crime in so doing. 2, don't defame others. 3, and most fundamentally, respect other people's rights. Yeah, those are the limitations to fundamental human rights. Any limitation should be justifiable in a democratic country. What is not justifiable and what is universally abhorrent is torture. You don't torture people even if they are criminals. You respect people's rights even if they are suspects.
Even the Constitution says it.
Yeah. It is even a crime to torture people.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't wait to have that anybody convicted for that crime. There is also Ashura. He or she says, what about Uganda police killing people all the time?
Extrajudicial killings are criminal killings. That's murder. That's murder. It's crime. And once you have...
And it has been prevalent of recent. We've seen every day you find a police officer shooting someone.
Yeah. So people who have the resources can take them on and pursue them in private prosecution and also civil suits, because killing people is wrong, it's abhorrent, and it's the worst kind of activity you can engage in. It's the worst crime, it's the worst, because life is important. We all need to live. And until the author of life calls it, that's the essence and dignity of life. It's not supposed to be wished away by mere men. Even courts are not to write the wish of life. In fact, in Uganda, the death penalty is no longer compulsory, but and where it happens, it must be confirmed by the highest land in the land, the Supreme Court.
Okay. There is also Mr. Wandera K. Desire, he's also watching. There is Kelvin, he's also watching. Innocent is watching. Baguma is watching. He says, following, release Kakwenza Rukirabashaija. Sharita Nambatia says, we are watching Counsel. Thank you for the good work. People are really, really so grateful for about what you do, sir. Maybe just to
welcome
to tell you that. There is also Anthony Odur. He's watching. Chago Bakatongole is watching. Mutale Farouk is watching. Hussein Pato is watching. And Omuntu Wawansi is watching. Brooke Williams. Banji Nyo Abali Mukulaba. Thank you so much. I think those are some of your questions. Maybe lastly, anybody who wants to call in live, because Counsel is also running for a meeting, and I would love maybe to end with just one last remark. Counsel, we're talking about Luther Ferdinand as well. You are the lead counsel in that gentleman's case. This gentleman was arrested back in February 2021. He has spent at least 11 months behind bars, and there is no justifiable case that was put on this gentleman just for maybe protesting and saying no to what was happening in the country, no to President Museveni's regime. This gentleman is still incarcerated up to now, and we do not know when he will be getting out of prison, if he is actually in prison. Counsel, what is happening in Luther Ferdinand's case?
The longer that he stays in prison over bogus charges, as you can see, the thing is doing.
That is what, by the way, was made him get arrested like that.
That's creativity that should be celebrated in other countries, but we're living in a wrong country that not only doesn't reward talent, but also disincentivizes it and punishes talent and merit. And we are going to lose talent to this country. People are going to fly out of the country and go to spaces where the talent is rewarded. If you keep harassing your best brains, your most creative people, then people are going to run away from the country. Already we have workers running away because they have no jobs. And the creatives also get out of the country if there are no conditions that are convenient. But of course, what the courts martial are doing in playing Museveni's politics just because he's annoyed with the man are wrong. But of course, courts martial are Museveni's pocketbook. They are just, they can't do much. They are partial by constitution, by structure, by everything. There is no justice to be expected there. And but we have to hope that Museveni himself can change his mind and be magnanimous and release this man, because ultimately the decision is his to release.
So it's him who will say, Ferdinand, go or stay?
Yes.
Wow. But have you maybe had any court proceedings?
They are
things like that?
He has never been tried at all.
11 months down the road.
Not a single witness has been arraigned against him. But so do you expect Museveni to go to Machinde to testify in this serious thing?
God.
I mean, there's no case. There is no case. You'll see no witness. There is no case here. The punishment, he has got it. A year in prison, that distorts everything. Your family, your income, your career, and it's gone. If you had a wife, you find that someone has married and she has produced a 2-year bouncing baby boy or baby girl, and that's the thing. Yes. It's unfortunate, but that's the reality of Ferdinand.
Wow. Counsel, thank you so much for joining us today. But I have one last comment from Arthur K. He says, whatever he is doing has clearly indicated he cannot even govern an LC1. He's meaning General Muhoozi. Free Kakwenza Rukirabashaija. There is Kwesiga David, who's also watching from Birmingham. Thank you so much for watching live, sir. Then this gentleman says, Muhoozi Kainerugaba is just insane. Much as I don't think he is obese as such, but he's just a doll. I don't know. Gentlemen are saying a lot of things. Thank you so much, Counsel, for sparing your time and coming through at the Alternative TikTok. We hope that you can come back soon, and maybe good luck in trying to free Mr. Kakwenza Rukirabashaija.
Thank you. I always do when I'm called, and it's always my honor.
Thank you for being a humble gentleman.
Privilege to be part of this wonderful show. Thank you.
Okay. Kale, for those who have watched us, thank you. This was an exclusive. It wasn't mostly a show. It was just an exclusive with Counsel Eron Kiiza. Keep watching the Alternative TikTok. My name is Edgar Matthew Karuhanga. More shows are coming your way come 2022. We're expecting a lot of shows, and you just don't want to miss these particular shows. We told you we are redefining the social media narrative in this country, and we are doing our best to, of course, serve this generation. My name is Edgar Matthew Karuhanga. Let's break off now. Still continuing will be the Alternative TikTok. Good evening. Good afternoon, sorry.
Happening now on the Alternative Digital. The Alternative TikTok. Real issues, real talk.